Hello, everybody, and welcome to Comics News Today. My name is Chester C. Busby III, and of course, I am joined by my panel as usual. Thank you all for coming, and thank you not allowing me to control its stuff. This is obviously an attack against Streamlabs. Thank you very much, YouTube. But nevertheless, guys, keep in mind of all our links down below. We'd love you to go over and check out Fan Speak on Facebook, which is growing and growing. We're getting a lot of people adding reviews and opinions and news and all kind of stuff, and it's really wonderful what's happening there. Thank you all for that. Also, keep in mind if you want to be on this show or you would like to be on the fan edition of Drawn and Quartered, just go to my links on Twitter or Facebook, which are just down below, and tell me so. Would love to have you guys involved, and of course, the fan edition of Drone Accord is growing day after day, week after week, I should say, and we're very happy to do that. And dare I say, it might be sometimes more interesting and often have better art. I didn't say that, but I did because we do
So,
have some amazing artists over there. What's up, Denali?
yeah, I was gonna say I know that usually our third or fourth Thursday we are usually on another channel. Have we decided? You guys decided on whose channel it's going to be hosted, or going to still be hosted on this channel for tomorrow?
Oh no, we've been saying all along it's going to be on John Dillard's channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, tomorrow's fan edition will be on John Diller once a month, the last Thursday of the month. We do take it over somebody else's channel so we can share the wealth of people coming in, enjoying, and help promote us smaller channels. We got to stick together, you know. But we will be on John Dillard gaming the system tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, we have many announcements in regards to Tales from Beyond the Gate will be covered, I'm sure, by John, and all those things that are going on with that. But of course, today we will have the Pro Edition here in about 2 hours. And they are doing, I understand, Captain Marvel. I mean, the real Captain Marvel, Shazam. And tomorrow on the Fin Edition, I'm having a feeling we might do something connected, something interesting. I'm pretty sure. I'm looking forward to it. Joshua Hughes says, "Okay, wow, you're not at least a full minute late this time." And then the intro plays again. Lol. Yeah, no, that is a problem. You heard me complaining about it. YouTube has intentionally taken away the volume control from us when we do our setup. We used to have it, used to have access to all the controls, but now, until you actually launch, they do not give you access to the volume control. I don't know why they did this. Well, actually, I think I do know why they did this. But it is what it is, and I just need to be quicker about that split second jumping over there. The problem is I'm buried behind layers of software here, and I have to dig my way back up to YouTube to get there. So it's I just need to be a little bit faster. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Comic Book Bob says fan edition should do Black Adam or Mary. Good suggestions. We'll keep that in mind. But it should be interesting. Captain Marvel, of course, is a great character I've enjoyed for years. I did also like Miss Marvel until they decided to. I'm going to get into that in a minute. First, I want to come over and say hello to all our guests. But do keep in mind, guys, we love having you here. And of course, subscribing and liking is much appreciated, of course. But the thing that helps us the most is you to hit that share button and let your family and friends and extended community know what we're doing, and have everybody come over here and join us so we can have a big old fun show. So please do that if you would. But let me come over here and say hello to our panelists today, and then we'll jump right into our news. Of course, we already said hello to Denali, but I shall do it again. I know you and I are sitting on rainy gray days, gloomy, gloomy.
Yep, pretty much. Been raining the last couple of days, so well, what can you do?
Yeah, same here.
So,
Yeah, it is what it is. Of course, the funny thing here is it's not cold for me at all, but when you add the rain, it does make it feel a little more uncomfortable because the dampness and the cold together. But the Japanese are complaining mightily about it, actually.
well,
But it
over
is.
here it's pollens and humid.
Oh yeah, true.
so,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, cool. Now, of course,
so yeah.
thank you for
Go
coming,
ahead.
Denali. We're always happy to have you here. Of course, you are the Denali Lama and our master of the news. And we got some interesting stories today. Matter of fact, Denali, we have one actual real news thing we're talking about. I mean, actual news.
Yeah.
And that'll be interesting. We'll get to that. Also, I want to thank George Gatsis for coming over and joining us again. How you doing, George?
Greetings, everybody. Greetings. I am under 6 feet of snow and stuck at home.
Aren't you lucky? I never see snow.
Wow.
No, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm shocked.
I
Shocked, I
live in
tell
a
you.
semi. It's not tropical. But it's a low end of the temperate zone is where I'm at, so we don't get any snow here. Yeah. Oh
Wow.
well.
Do you still know what ice cream tastes like?
Ice cream. Yes, we do have freezers in Japan. We have modern convenience.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay. Yeah.
I was wondering about you guys.
Yeah. No, the Japanese are not known for their technical prowess. I know. Yeah. Um. Goodness gracious. But yeah, no. Actually, Japanese. The interesting thing about the Japanese is they don't really create new things very often. They're not that type. I mean, most of the new creations are coming out of the Celtic peoples, at least for the past couple hundred years. But what the Japanese are really good at, though, is taking something that already exists and making it smaller and better. They're really good at that. They master that. And therefore, this applies in every way, including food. Now, some things they haven't really quite mastered yet, like bread. But other things they have taken to new levels, actually. Their cakes are quite amazing. Other type of food, like the peach. Do you guys like peaches?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love peaches, right? The Japanese peach is, dare I say, to die for. It is insanely good. But the problem is you can't cook with it. Whereas back home you can cook with a peach, you can't cook with these peaches, but you can
Why
cut them
not?
open and eat them though. They're really good. The Japanese are great
No,
at
no. Hold on a second. Why can't you cook with them? Are they too ripe or too hard?
it. They're too high in liquid. There's too much liquid in it. Yeah, you can't cook with it at all. Now
Oh,
occasionally I'm able to get a hold of some American peaches in the stores. And then when I do, or even Western, the same thing with apple. It's too high in liquid content. But occasionally I'll get Western apples or peaches, and I can make like a cobbler or apple pie or something like that. But no, you can't cook with them. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just it's shocking how much better their peach is than ours. And the reason I mentioned that line is because they do ice cream really well too, actually, amazingly well. But yeah, that's Japan.
sounds
Anyway,
mouthwatering.
yeah, no, but it is interesting on another point is their diet is changing to much more of a Western diet. But because of that, these are foods that their bodies aren't used to. They're starting to have some problems, actually. And I wanted to see how they adjusted that. But that is way off topic. Nevertheless, thank you for coming, George. Hello, Todd. How you doing? Todd Mulrooney, the creator of Ignition, the winner of John Malin's Art Challenge, and currently working on Graveyard Shift 2. Also a member of Tales from Beyond the Gate crew, doing not only Mike Barron's, the mighty Mike Barron's story, but also working with me on a story called Refuel. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. I'm just working hard and keeping my nose to the grindstone to get Graveyard Shift 2 done. And I've got 8 pages penciled and 2 of those pages inked, so I'm getting there.
Ah, cool. No, you are very busy. You have a lot on your plate, but hopefully it'll all get done and be nice and sharp and clean and dedication to everything as it should be, as you usually do. So, good luck. It is a challenge, but it's a good challenge, right? I mean, being busy and having all this opportunity is a good thing, not a bad thing at all. So,
Certainly, to a degree, it is to be busy. Well, okay, paying work is definitely a change
oh sure, yeah,
for me. But yeah, when you have too many irons in the fire, you get a little like, oh man, what do I do? So I just figure I just jump in and do one at a time,
I
get and go as
understand.
fast as I can.
Yes, I understand
You
completely.
know,
But yeah, no, thanks for being here, man. Nice to take a little break and come over and chat with us. So I appreciate it. We have Joshua Hughes is saying, "Where's Booster?" He probably hasn't woken up yet, guys. I mean, Booster is doing night shifts now. He's actually working, which means his poor little wee birdie arms are stressed, and he can't. He doesn't have much stamina. We all know that. So I'm sure he'll come dragging his butt in here, saying, "I'm sorry, guys, I just woke up," or something like that. It'll happen. Okay. Kawhi Ali says hi. Well, hi, Kawhi Ali. Tank Ferret is in here. He says, "Hail, fan speakers." Well, hail to you, Tank. Long time no see. Nick W says, "Hi, everybody." Well, hello to you. Everybody's saying hello to Tank Ferret. Nice, nice, nice. All right, so I think we're going to jump right into it, guys. Now, I could apologize and say that I'm about to give a rant and then apologize for that rant, but I shan't do that because I'm just going to rant. But before I do that, I'm going to share with my panel so they can see what I'm ranting about. So, strap in. This is going to be fun. As many of you know, I do on Pencil for Life's channel with Brad over there. We do the new Comics Wednesdays because, Brad is a manager of several comic book stores in the great state of Utah. And he has a channel basically for his, initially, I think it started for his customers to give them an idea of the new comics that are coming out. Of course, it's extended into our community, which is awesome. And I really enjoy going over there and doing that show with him. We read the books together and then we talk about them. And today wasn't the greatest day. We talked about Batman 999, and it was dark, brooding, masochistic Batman. So perfect, right? Wasn't much of a story, but it's a lead-in for their 1,000 issue. So it was fine. Had Craven, which was also it was in Spider-Man. There was no Spider-Man in the book, but it was about Craven, and well written. Not exactly where I would like the story to go, but very really well written. And then we had that Age of X-Men nonsense. Don't read or waste money. Do not encourage Marvel with that nonsense because that is a horribly written, just really poor work. My question is, where are the editors? But none of those things matter because I read this today. You see it? Captain Marvel, braver and mightier because she is braver and mightier than everything, right? Now, I know it might be hard for you to believe. I know this will be shocking to you. But this book right here, which I read today, and I demanded that Brad burn live on online, which he didn't do, but he did rip it, so I'll take the compromise. Nevertheless, this book right here is literally attacking its fans directly. No more subtlety, no more hints, no more wink, wink, you Nazis. No, right at you, straight at you. Matter of fact, in this book right here, what they've done is they're talking about the controversy with Brie Larson getting up and saying she don't need no white man to be her interviewer, and they insult us. I mean, how dare you question it, right? They go on to throughout the whole book to just chastise you for daring not to love Captain Marvel. How dare you? This is the sixth time we've had to reboot it. Don't you know you're supposed to love it? This book right here, number one, Captain Marvel. And another thing they did in this, another very wonderful, beautiful, interesting thing they did in this was they decided to take this character that they demand be the face of Marvel. They demand us to accept this character as Marvel. They didn't write her. Did they try to write her in an endearing way that we would like her? Did they try to make her heroic or cool or interesting in any way? No, no, they didn't. What they did was they wrote her as a slap idiot. They literally did that. I'm not joking. I'm not taking my opinion or giving it to you. Go read it. No, don't read it. Burn it. Buy them and burn them. This is the best thing you can do with this book. I cannot believe that they would go to the length of literally right in your face, right at you, go to hell fans, because that's what they did with this book. So, there's my rant. Enjoy.
How subtle was this?
It wasn't subtle at all. It was straight at
No.
you. There's no subtlety.
They
Zero
diss
subtlety.
you. They diss you directly.
Yes.
What is the character talking to the reader, or is it they're
Yeah,
actually talking?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
You
right
have
to the reader.
what you have is you have this these two high school kids. There's a black boy, of course, and a girl, and they're sitting in a museum where Captain Marvel, the great and mighty Captain Marvel, who everyone loves and adores, is going to show up for an interview. And they've been allowed to ask one question for their high school newspaper because that's where they work for, and they are allowed to go first. And they're complaining about how the other white, all of them are drawn as white men, by the way. The other reporters are complaining that they don't get that these kids get to go first. That damn black boy gets to go first, right? Which is nonsense. Everybody knows it's nonsense, right? And they're going on about how they're going to ask the perfect question. And of course, what do they ask? They ask the most generic question ever. Oh, if you could go back to talk to your past self, what would you say? And her answer is even interesting. She says, I would tell myself, you are right. You are right about everything. All your wishes come true. You are right. Don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to what they have to say because you were right. Right? This is what this comic does, and it goes on and on. But like I said, here's a line, a quote. I don't do the sciency thing. Captain Marvel said that in a comic book,
Oh,
right? So
it's not Captain Marvel. It's just Brie Larson in a comic
It's
book
Brie
form.
Larson. I can't. It's like a miasma of aneurysms, man. I don't understand the logic. One, you're attacking your fans directly, but then two, you're writing this character you're desperate for me to like as a fool. Oh my god,
because
man.
because it's not for us.
Who is
We're
it
not the
for?
fan. It's for the non-imaginary fans that will actually buy this. That population. The one that Brie Larson talks about. It wasn't written for you. It was written for the non-white people who are so woke that that if you have to ask who is written for, then obviously, roll my eyes, obviously it's not for you. And the fact that you have to ask means it's not for you. So why are you asking about this, Gramps? This book isn't for you. Get
Yeah.
out. We don't want you.
Yes,
Marvel doesn't want you. You are old. You are
it's for the
obsolete.
imaginary reader.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I do apologize for the rant. But damn. It's really shocked me today, because I read this. We read this. What we do is we get on a couple hours before, we do the show. We read the books together, and then we talk about it fresh in our head, right? And there's always one or two just nonsense books out of Marvel. There are good books out of Marvel too. I mean, of course, but there's always one or two nonsense ones, but they're just kind of that silly, vapid nonsense. This is a direct assault against your customers, and it's like it just you don't do this, man. You don't do this, and we're never ever going to accept Captain Marvel as the lead of Marvel. We're not going to do it. We know why? Because you want us to. Don't you understand human nature even in the slightest way? You know, you don't tell a kid not to touch the fire. You watch them touch the fire, and then you laugh at their foolishness and know they'll never do it again, right? Anyway.
But you're thinking they're gonna learn. These are the type of kids that will just put their hands in a boiling hot fry oil just to see if they'll feel something, and not react to the world and think it's actually it's funny.
Yeah.
Because I don't care that I hurt myself.
Well, in
You're,
that case, what you do is you gift them a bottle of lighter fluid and let them go to work. Um,
yeah.
nevertheless, Joshua Hughes says, Chester, wait, can you start over? I wasn't listening. You bastard. All right. Welcome, everybody. Sorry for the rant. We're going to move on now. But Todd, would you like to make any comment on that nonsense right there in front of you?
Well, wait a minute. What nonsense are you talking about? Hold
All
on.
right. Next.
Oh, Captain Marvel. No, who drew that? No, who drew that? I want to know who drew it.
I have
'Cause I
no
can't see
clue,
it.
dude.
It says a name right there.
Hold
The
on a
second
second. Hold on
name.
a second.
Bonfantino.
Yeah, I didn't know any of the people. I recognize the lady who wrote it, and it's ridiculous. But Bonfantino.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, so I don't have any
I don't know
comments.
either.
But is it drawn well? Was the book
Oh, it's
drawn well?
beautiful art. The art's beautiful. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No problem with the art at all.
Yeah.
Which is just makes you more angry because it's such a vapid, angry story. It's not even really a story. All it is just showing off. This is Captain Marvel, and she's awesome, and you better like her. And there's a movie coming. That's all this is. There's no actual story here. Matter of fact, what she's fighting is a nothing. It's just this kind of spaceship thing. We don't know anything about him. She's just fighting it, and she's like, "God, you're wasting my time. Why am I here? Why am I fighting you? I need to figure out, can I hit that if it will blow up and destroy the planet? I don't know. I don't do the sciencey thing." And like two lesbians come in and help her out though, and instantly they show up and they're like, "All right, it's a sciencey. I love the science, and you should do this or that." And then they don't show us, and then they go back to the interview because the whole book's about the interview. It's all about showing these damn white men that their opinion doesn't matter because this is not for you. That's what the whole book is about. And I'm sure they
So
were quite proud of
Yeah.
themselves.
it sounds like they rushed this book out because Brie Larson has only been, dissing, and being racist for the last month.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and they actually gave her an opportunity a few days. We've talked about this before, but a few days ago they gave her an opportunity to clarify her statements, right? And not only did she not clarify her statements, it was the interviewer that tried to clarify them, while she sat there with this smug look on her face, going, "Mm-hmm, yeah, mm-hmm." I mean, she had an opportunity to try to smooth things out a little bit, didn't take it, didn't want to,
Yeah.
because she's right and you're wrong. Yeah. And, to be fair, as I've said before, that whole thing did get blown out of proportion. She said many times she doesn't hate when white men. She just doesn't see enough. Like, all she sees is white men, and she thinks there should be more diversity. Now, of course, what she is doing, this is the same thing we see many feminists do. They blame men and chastise and punish men for the inactivity or the indecision of women. That's what they're doing. They're blaming men for the action of women, because the reason why there aren't a ton of black women running around inside the critics community is because they're not interested. They don't pursue it. No one is keeping them out of it. We all know right well everybody in the West has privilege other than the white heterosexual man. So if there's a black lady who wants to come out and wants to do interviews, she's going to be pushed to the front. We know this, but there's not that many because they don't want to do. They're not interested. But yet we get blamed for that inaction. That is what they're doing, and that is the stupidity of the argument from people like Brie Larson. They can't understand the simple fact of the numbers, right? Because it doesn't matter to them. All they care about is the diversity. All they care is that every show have the right number of colors and the right number of genders and things like that. They can't understand that, wouldn't things be more interesting if you weren't pushing a propaganda and things look more like reality? Suspension of belief comes down to the suspension of a singular thing, not a suspension of dozens of things. This is why the Last Jedi bombed, because they kept asking you to suspend your disbelief one scene after the other, right? And whether you know that or not, that's what your brain is screaming at you about when you're hating on Last Jedi. They have the inability to see this because they're stupid little vapid brats who think they know something, and they're entitled to the nth degree.
Yep.
Do you need a cigarette?
Yes, I do. I'd prefer a whiskey, but But did I say anything incorrect? Did I
Oh,
step beyond my
you're
bounds?
dead on.
Yeah.
You're dead on. The only people that get offended from what you said are the people who are just not clued into reality.
Well,
it's a shame. It's a real shame.
it is. So let's move on to something more fun. Denali.
Yes. All right. Well, as you probably guys have already heard from various other YouTube outlets, Star Trek Discovery renewed for another season, for season 3 at CBS All Access. They have now made Michelle Paradise as co-showrunner, but in reality, she is the actual showrunner for season 3. Kurtzman is not involved, except as just the face for it.
Okay.
Well,
This is the throwaway season is what they mean.
pretty much.
Yeah. Mm.
Because they know it's going to fail, but they have to save face.
That's true.
Because you never see a Star Trek that has less than 3 seasons.
Yeah, no, that's probably. I think that's a truthful statement. And just to follow up, Vailness says, "Breathe, Chester, breathe." Okay, more fun. STD, less fun. Yeah, no.
It's a persistent STD. Yeah,
Yeah,
just won't go away.
There's not much to talk about here other than the fact that I think Denali's point is very true. They just simply want to save face by making sure there's a minimum of 3 seasons, or maybe they were actually already paid for it. That could be a fact. But there's no saving this show. It is not Star Trek in the least. And basically, I think what they did was they made an attempt. Same thing with the new movie reboots that came out to capture a new audience. And you see a lot of this going on. They're trying to capture new audiences because they want to make Star Trek Star Wars. This is what they want to do. They want to have a Star Wars TV show. And I don't know why they don't just make that instead of wasting our time with Star Trek. Because once again, they don't understand the source material. This is not Star Wars. It's quite different. Matter of fact, the fan bases are often opposed to each other for obvious reasons because they're dynamically different. Right.
In terms of branding and marketing, I believe the strategy that they're doing is, one is to appeal to a wider audience, but the problem is that they don't understand that their material does not appeal to a wider audience. Period. It does, even if you put a bow tie on the characters, and you give them, 90210 problems.
Mm-hmm.
No, the wider audience is not going to tune in. They're more the wider audience is more interested in cop shows, detective shows, hospital shows, doctor shows.
Yeah, no, that's
true. They just don't care about science fiction. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
This is the numbers that they don't understand, and I believe the only reason why they're keeping it alive and pushing it to the 3rd season is there's going to be a huge streaming war going on in the next 5 years. That's Netflix, true. Amazon, Hulu, Disney, and CBS, and whoever else out there. But the thing is, if they don't keep their hat in the ring, so to speak, they're done. They're toast. They're going to have to fall victimhood to whoever, is the top gun. And they're going to have to deal with the whatever payments they're going to be allowed to have from that streaming service.
Yeah, I understand that argument. I think it's probably a good one. It just for me is what is this trend of alienating your fans? I mean, what you should be doing is embracing your fans and trying to expand the fandom, right?
Well, let's roll back the time because there's a lot of factors in place with Star Trek specifically. Remember when the founder and the owner of Viacom and Paramount decided to split up the company into two, Well, what they failed to mention Paramount to get is that they only got the movie rights for Star Trek, and CBS, who's under New Viacom, got all of the intellectual property for TV shows of Star Trek, meaning that Paramount could not use any semblance of Star Trek in their series.
And even the movies had to be 25% different in contract.
Correct.
By contract. Yeah.
By contract.
Yeah. And
because of that, they had to hire J.J. Abrams Bad Robot because he was the hot kid in town. But J.J. really wanted to do Star Wars. That's why you had the first Star Trek reboot in 2009 feel like this feels like a Star Wars movie instead of a Star Trek movie because of that. Now you come in to here, they had to buy a license to do the STD to CBS, meaning again 25% difference, but also 25% different to be able to merchandise this abomination called STD. That's not even being bought. And there's your reason. Now with the remerger happening, we might see in the future, maybe this jettison out like the trash it is, and Q snapping his fingers. One could hope. But until that happens, we're still infected with this mind mentality that we have to burst this bubble to say, no, there's no creative stories that you guys are telling us, and you're not giving the general audience what they want, and you're not giving the loyal fans what they want either, because you don't know what to do with the property. You don't know the property. You're just floundering around trying to think, oh, if we do this, maybe it will stick to the wall. That's why I don't have any hopes with the new Picard, because it's dealing with the STD timeline, whatever it is, instead of the actual main timeline, because it was produced by Bad Robot under that 25% license. So it's 75% SJW Picard.
Oh no, and Stewart was very clear. He came out and announced this show is going to be dealing with social issues that need to be addressed. Is his statement,
Right.
quote unquote. I don't know. I kind of feel bad a little bit for this Michelle Paradise. Of course, I don't know if that's her real name. I seriously doubt it. But I probably shouldn't feel bad for her, but I do, because damn, you just walked into a clusterfuck. Ding ding. Sorry about that. And this little thing here related: why women kill. I'm sure it's men's fault. Nevertheless, let me come over here to the chat real quick. Kawhi Ali says, I'm a feminist that thinks guys are chill. The idea of equal rights and sad how that is taken away and now want to be better than men. Well, yeah, it has nothing to do with feminism. It's about misandry. Feminism is about women improving themselves. This isn't feminism. It has nothing to do with it. Jonah Art says, Gundam is the next live-action adaptation to be on par or above Alita. That is all. That'd be cool. Gundam has a deep story lore, actually. You could have some great movies there. Nick W says, everyone go see Captain Marvel 5 times. Higher, further, faster to my bank account, Disney. Yeah. Eric M. Delavan says, hi, gang. Well, hello, dude. John Dillard, Gaming the System, says, then I felt on the big fat fanny, pulled out the jammy, and killed the... Oh, he retracted it as I was reading it. Thanks, John. John continues to say, I don't like that name, Kurtzman. Okay. I completely... I completely Jude whether or not I want to see a show on the physical appearance of its co-showrunners. I don't think I'm alone in this. What? This woman looks like Adam Driver. 1/10 would not bang. Thanks, John. That was constructive. I don't know. I think she's a fine looking woman. There's nothing wrong with her. She's a normal lady. And like I said, I kind of feel bad for her being dragged into this. I haven't seen the X's or O's, but I haven't seen the originals. It's certainly not. It's a teen drama type of show, but I should think she did a fair job, actually. But good luck. No one's got to watch this season. No one watched season 2.
STD, the teen saga. There you go.
There we go. All right.
I want to add a personal anecdote to this. Back in the 90s, early 90s, I was in a meeting with agency as I was handling the marketing and advertising for Next Generation. And I just happened to be there because I was a techie. And nobody in that room understood or knew anything about the Star Trek property.
Yeah, well, it's too bad. That's just what it is. I mean, it only matters to us fans, but because obviously no one else cares because no one else is watching it. Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't watch it either. I know you weren't going to ask, but I've
Well,
been sitting here waiting for you to.
I'm sorry.
I
Go
don't
ahead,
want.
Todd. I kind of figured you'd pop in, especially when I say anybody have an opinion.
Um, I watched the very first episode that they gave away, and
Mhm.
when I saw the Klingons, I was sitting there going, like, what the hell? What do we look? We've seen we've seen the Klingons change more than any other alien race in history, but
It's true.
we did have a sort of solidified look with the Star Trek: The Next Generation. You know what I mean? It's because we saw Worf every episode.
That's right. Yeah. And that was a big departure from the original series as well. But
Right.
But that was under the 25%. That's why they changed it.
yeah,
They
sure.
couldn't legally use it,
Yeah.
or else CBS knew Viacom would be getting the profits, and they can't have that.
Mhm. And John Dillard says to George, George, talk faster. Thank you, John. John's a very helpful and constructive person. If you didn't know George, just heads up. Meet Grimlock King 83 says. Go ahead. Okay.
Certainly. I will
Yeah.
talk as quickly as I can.
They don't care about the original fan base. The SJW see them as a problem, which is why they go out of their way to alienate the fan base, so that they make their show a show for people who won't watch. Maybe. Beware of Klingons orbiting Uranus. Thanks, Dave. Eric says maybe that is the problem. The audience is too small. Perhaps they wanted to capture a broader audience and opt to try for SJW crowd. Yeah, no. See, I don't chastise them for trying to find a new audience. Not at all. It's their business. They can do whatever they think is best for them. But when they fail to find that audience, you would think they would try to do something to recapture the fan base, but they haven't. They've just doubled down and tripled down. So it is what it is, I guess. John Dillard is Worf's lazy eye was 25% different. It was 25% mightier. Joshua keeps saying we want hashtag we want booster. Well, go wake him up then, Joshua. Anyway, moving on. Let's see here. We got there's a couple little quick stories we can run through real quickly here, Denelli. Go ahead.
All right. Well, DC Universe tied in season 2 as Joshua Orpen as Superboy. Orpen is an Australian actor whose only credit is the Neo Spectrum.
Okay. Don't know anything about him. Don't care. Anybody else
Yep.
care?
No.
Next. Oh no, I'm gonna. That's last. Let me come over this real quick.
All right.
Go ahead, Denelli.
From the Mirror, David Hasselhoff confirms Knight Rider reboot reveals why it's also been delayed.
Do you guys think that a talking car is going to sell in this modern environment?
You mean every car is talking?
Yeah, I know.
It's ridiculous. Everything that was novel in the early '80s when Knight Rider was happening is now ubiquitous.
Yeah, no, it's true. This now to be
What are they going to do? Make him a flying car now?
maybe. I mean, they got to do something radical because I don't see how to fly. And I know many of us here grew up with Knight Rider. Knight Rider was more than a hit; it was a phenomenon. Knight Rider was
totally.
everywhere and everything, and we all watched it together. Of course, this is back when there was only 3 channels on TV anyway, so it's not like you had many choices. But Knight Rider dominated.
We all wanted that smart car.
What was that, George?
We all wanted that smart car.
Yeah, and we kind of have it in a way, right?
Driving. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Todd? I mean, you grew up with Knight Rider, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. It it wasn't the best show, but it wasn't the worst show. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It certainly was on par with Dukes of Hazzard, but I don't know. He was kind of wasn't he like a private investigator or sort of a?
He was kind of Magnum PI, is what he was really. He worked for an organization that was fighting crime. It was superhero-esque. It had very Magnum PI feels to it. Yeah. Anything further?
Yeah, it wasn't that good. I don't know. It just
It
wasn't
was.
that good.
I think it was fine, but
But
but it was a phenomenon. It was a ridiculously huge hit. Knight Rider was everywhere all the time. I mean, I saw it was so big that Knight Rider was in at least 2 or 3 Macy Day parades on Thanksgiving. Literally
oh,
driving
really?
in the parade. Yeah, right. But major phenomena, dude. Um,
But
now
but but it was just a normal car that had some extra doodads to it. It wasn't like
Well, it had an AI.
um
It had a full AI.
right.
Personally, I
But
think it could be cool, and they already rebooted the show. And Nick W is mentioning that it did bomb, and it just does it because it doesn't apply to the modern audience, I think. But you mentioned Dukes of Hazzard. I like Dukes of Hazzard way more than Knight Rider.
yeah,
Personally, I love Dukes of Hazzard. Daisy Duke, please.
Oh, what about Airwolf?
Oh, Airwolf was really cool. My wife loved that one. Um,
oh, Jan Michael Scott, right?
yep. Hard ass, mean, nasty drinker. hmm but
Do
I
you
don't know.
remember do you remember a show with the guy from Seven Heaven, but he had a patch or like one patch on his eye and he flew like a seaplane?
Oh, the Golden
He was
Monkey, The Adventures of the
yes. Do you
Golden
remember
Monkey.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that
Oh,
was cool.
great.
Now talk about a blast from the
that was
past.
a
I
cool
haven't heard
show.
anybody mention that in decades.
I know.
Wow.
Just one of those shows I was thinking about the other day.
A
Yeah, it was good.
combination
It
of
was Indiana Jones, what it was.
and Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, but it wasn't. But it was. It was. They couldn't.
Was
They
was
couldn't
it the
afford
dog that had a
the
patch?
It was some kind
Or
of
was it
golden
the guy?
frog or something like that. Yeah. It was
No,
interesting.
no the person with the patch might have been the dog. Did he have a patch on his eye?
I don't remember, dude. Maybe it
I
was a
think it was the
weird
dog.
show. It was cool though.
He had like a little Jack Russell, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah. But did the dog have the eye patch? I don't know. Maybe
I think so.
someone around him. He didn't have the eye patch, but someone around him did. You're right. But nevertheless,
Yeah.
these are 80 shows. But I wish them luck. Like Nick and I had said here, they already did a reboot of Knight Rider, and it did not do well. Right. So I don't know what they're thinking, but I can only wish him luck. The Hoff always has my love forever. He will have my love. But Eric says, true, but the other audience is trying to be different from us. So perhaps it is logical to assume they would like those unlikable characters. Maybe. Nick W says, there was already, he already read that. Dave says, they can make a transforming car to a monster truck to a helicopter. Well, that would be, what was that? The digital guy, the guy could change his body into vehicles. Well, that was,
Automan.
huh?
Automan, yeah, Automan.
Automan. They already had that, dude. Eric says if they were smart, they would leave this alone, never make a reboot, and just let the new generation create what they like. Yep. Roger Heller says, I kind of want to see this come back, and I'm not. And I'm not old. Yeah, I mean, I wish them luck. I hope they find an audience for it. Eric says a new Knight Rider today would only have the car. Lol, no driver needed. Interesting. Roger Heller says he was an agent for Flag. Yep. The Knight Foundation. Dave says the car and the theme song is what made Knight Rider work. Yeah, dude, that theme song was awesome. Trusty Sidekick says I might watch it if Zardu Hasserfrau is the star. Absolutely. That's a Guardian of the Galaxy joke. Me, Grimlike King 83, King 83 says one of the reasons that the reboot bomb was due to lack of Hoff. Yeah, no, maybe make him the new boss. Maybe he's the Knight Foundation boss, and that would be interesting. And maybe, just maybe, the car has a female voice and the action star is female too, because we know that always makes things better. Next. I don't know if this is very interesting news either, Denali. What do you think?
No, not really. I mean, it's simple. Bond 25 is starting production in Springs.
Do you guys like this new Daniel Craig Bond series? Do you like what they're doing with it?
I like it because it's very gritty. I mean, it's close to being Sean Connery. It has its own voice, but Sean Connery comparing it to everybody else, the guy was just pure slickness.
Yeah, no, he was, and I think the acting is amazing. I just kind of miss a little bit of the camp of the old Bond, and I'm talking about Connery camp as well. I'm not talking about Dudley Moore there, whatever his name is.
Roger Moore.
Yes, yes, I was making a joke.
Mhm.
I don't. I kind of miss the campiness with all the gadgets, and I just miss that a little bit. The one-liner stuff. This is done as a very serious, realistic thing, which is cool. But I don't know. I kind of miss the old Bond. What do you think, Todd?
Well,
Oh, go ahead,
Fun
Janelle.
fact. Sorry, fun fact. The only gadget in the entirety of the James Bond franchise that wasn't real was that little a nuclear bomb in Octopussy.
Wonderful movie, wonderful title. Hmm.
Go ahead,
Denali,
Denali.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
I was going to say the reason why it's so gritty, we have to thank Austin Powers, because the producer said Austin Power killed James Bond because they lovingly mocked it and spoofed it that they couldn't do it credible, and you could see in the box office returns. They said we could see in the box office as people were starting to laugh at Pierce Brosnan and the ridiculousness of his action things, that we had to do the grittiness and move away from those tropes
It's
that made
interesting.
James Bond.
It's
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, because it's a weird thing, right, Denali? I'm not saying I hate him because I don't. I think Daniel Craig has done a wonderful job. His Casino Royale was awesome, dude.
yeah.
I mean, he has.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I don't know. I kind of miss it. It's nostalgia for me, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, but I have nothing bad to say about him. I think he's done a wonderful job. And of course, yes, bring
yeah.
on
They and they
Idris Elba.
and remember Casino Royale. Like a big percentage of that movie was played at a table. And they were
Yeah,
playing cards.
that's right. Yeah,
So and they really pulled off a good movie.
they did. No, yeah, Daniel Craig killed that. They all killed it. And that had Mads Mikkelsen in it as well, who
Yeah,
I love him.
that I think that was his breakout role, because we
Was it?
didn't know who he was. We didn't know who he was before that film.
Yeah. But it's weird. For me, the current Bond is kind of weird. It's just, I already said what I'm going to say, but I don't have any complaints though. They've been doing a really good job. I think not all of them were as good as others, but overall they're fine. And I'm sure this movie will be fine. The news here is basically just talking about the villain being some dude who I don't really recognize offhand.
He's
What's
the
his
he's the main actor for Mr. Robot. Have you ever seen that?
Remy
And
Malek?
he,
Okay.
yeah, or he recently played Freddie Mercury in the biopic.
Oh, right, right, right. Okay. Um,
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I
He
haven't
was
seen that
great.
one yet. Most critics say the movie and story stuff is meh, but that dude was awesome. That's kind of the general critique I've been hearing. And of course, the music is awesome. And they're also looking to cast two women who they have no clue. They're just two ladies they want to cast. So this is not much. It's just kind of talking about it's coming. So I'm thinking this will be the last Daniel Craig Bond. Although I kind of thought that a couple of movies ago, but they keep making them. Let me see. Do I want to cover this right here? I'm just going to cover this real quick, Denelli. The
Sure.
X-Men are heading towards Days of Future Past again. In the comic books, they're retelling the story with Claremont writing. It's I think. Am I wrong?
I believe so.
Yeah, he's writing again, retelling the story again, as if we need that story again. I don't get it, man. There's so many things you could do. They're mutants, mutate them, do something. Whatever. But we gotta because it was people liked it. All right, next. This one right
Well,
here.
John Byrne is the one who actually wrote that story. Claremont just took the writing credits.
Oh, okay, whatever. There,
That's
but
all, yeah.
Claremont's rewriting the new one, but I don't. It's just we'll have to wait until something comes out from that to really talk
It's
about
it's
it
just
deeply.
it's just creative bankruptcy that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
They can't come up with something new, and they're stuck in that loop.
No, no. And the last one before we get to the real story today. Go ahead, Janelli. You just tell us what this is. Give us your opinion. We'll move on.
Right. So Disney Plus is developing a TV show for their streaming services called Book of Enchantment, which is a series about the Disney villains. They're going to focus on, the Queen from Snow White, Beast from Beauty and the Beast, Ursula, Maleficent, and some of the other villains. Think of Once Upon a Time meets the Descendants, and bada bing, bada boom, it's going to be awful. Anyways.
Bada bing, bada boom.
It's gonna be awful.
What are you? Are you Italian? You're not even Italian.
No,
No,
I expect that out of you, Todd. Actually.
I know, right?
Well, so this sounds like it's dead on arrival because raise your hands, anyone who thought the Beast was a bad guy.
I did. He kidnapped the girl and imprisoned her father.
No, she gave herself as bond, because he trespassed and broke the rules.
He made her dance and sing. That is insidious.
And fed her. Wow, that's like common courteousness. And gave her a nice dress too. What an evil villain.
He is a bit out of place there. That is true. But yeah, I don't know. We've been seeing a lot of creators really want to glorify the villain. But we saw that with vampires, for instance, right? Lost Boys, Twilight, they turned the vampire into this sexy, desirable thing. That's not what a vampire is. It's a monster you should be terrified of, right? But it's that glorification of the villain. We see that going on quite a bit, actually. But anyway.
Well, the first movie that glorified the villain was Species.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Everyone in the movie theater was rooting for the alien to kill off everybody who was chasing her.
Yeah, and she was bad, actually.
Totally.
But nevertheless, it is a trend. It is thing. It will continue because yay villains, and then they take the heroes who are hardcore and on the edge of villainy and turn them into weeping, whining. I got to talk about my feelings. Punisher. Next. Now this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is from the Hollywood Reporter, I believe. Yes.
Yes.
And this is an actual news story, true to life. Go ahead, Denelli.
So their headline is Fox rocked by $179 million on the Bone ruling, lying, cheating, and reprehensible studio fraud. Mm-hmm. Basically, the creators of Bones kind of sued Fox for not sharing profit because of their streaming rights, saying that because they gave the license out for streaming, that the creators and actors never see a cent from the digital profit that comes in, kind of like when it goes to what is it? I'm not forgetting the word, and I said it earlier. Basically, the royalty that comes from it, and when it's going, being on repeats all over again.
Right.
What this means for us is that all these studios and all the platforming streaming site, which includes Netflix, which includes Hulu, which includes Amazon, CBS All Access, that includes the Warner Brothers Media, any streaming sites that have these shows and had not included the royalty cuts for the creators and actor, like it was in syndication. Thank you. Basically, they're going to either get a penalty fine, or the rulings basically is making precedent that all of these companies need to start paying all the creators and actors for those fees as well, like it was being
Oh wow!
Now,
yeah, syndication.
now,
yeah.
let me elaborate on this and simplify.
Yeah.
This is a actual true bombshell, actually. And of course, in truth, what's going to happen is you're going to see a ton of money thrown at an appeal, and this will be overruled. I guarantee you. You're about to see millions of dollars come out of Hollywood to fix this, because what this does is it says that any streaming service that is using a product which they have bought must also pay the creators because of their creative involvement in its initial production. Now, that doesn't make any sense, right? Because they were already paid, but because now it's making further money, they need to get paid. That's what this judge in California has said. Now that's completely stupid. We've never done that with syndication in the past, and it's just one of those things that you're seeing studios and TV networks attacking these streaming services in any way they can, right? Because this is the future and they hate it, right? And now many of them are trying to get on board at the last minute, and they're not going to they're going to fail at it, right? So this is just an attack against streaming services, is what it is. But of course, it's inane and stupid. But what is if this would to stand, which I'm guaranteeing you this won't. But if this were to stand, that would mean that everything that is on any streaming service could have its original creators come and sue for a take. That would literally shut down every streaming service we have. It would shut them down overnight, right?
Well, you can extrapolate this to the Alan Moore scenario with Watchmen.
Go ahead.
They, well, you know, the agreement with Alan Moore and DC Comics / Warner Brothers was that at a certain point you get the rights back when the book was not in print, but they kept it in print, and then they exploited it
Sure.
up the wazoo.
They do that all the time. Distribution companies are the devil.
This scenario, it speaks highly where you can just reassess that agreement quite easily.
It's nonsense. Yeah, it's complete nonsense.
Well,
this has been going on since the beginning of TV, dude.
Wow. Well, actually, no. What George is saying, like any creators, like the Alan Moore agreement, could go back to Warner Brothers and say, you owe me a cut of that profit, meaning that they would have to pay Alan Moore more money, despite the agreement that, you know, if the rights reverted back to him and it's not distributing, because they're still making money off of it. So he could go back and literally go to DC and say, because of this precedent, you still guys owe me money.
Yeah, no, this is literally opening the Pandora's box, is what this is. And it's serious. And like I said, this will be overturned. They will spend whatever money is necessary to get this.
They're already going for appeals, and even the article said it was surprising that the ruling was made like this. But
well, it's California, dude, and they were paid off, obviously, because we know what's going on. But that's a whole nother conversation. But it is interesting the cojones it took for them to actually go to this point, though, because damn, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Any comment on this, Todd?
Well, you hope it doesn't get out of hand and actually go through. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because this would destroy entertainment as we know it. I mean, that's how big that news is, guys. It's no joking, right? This is literally talking about subverting the syndication rules that have been in place forever and allowing continuing funding to be due. And you say, hey, well, they deserve more money if it's making money. Well, yeah, okay, fine, but then that means either you're going to be paying an outrageous amount of money for your streaming services, or they're simply going to shut down because they can't handle the burden. And the latter is what would happen, because everybody and their brother would come and sue. I mean, think about how many products, how many choices that Netflix has available in TV and movie. Every one of them would be allowed to come and demand money. The creators would, not the people who bought it, not the people who sold it, but the people who created it would be able to come in and demand money. And by this ruling, would be able to continue to do so. And that would just destroy entertainment. It would destroy entertainment as we know it. It absolutely would destroy TV completely. Streaming. What it might do is create a boom in cinema. But
pretty
yeah, this
much,
is
and basically, and it would actually make the studios not do any. You see those smaller production companies. Nope, they're going to be bringing them all in house and be in house only.
mhm. But anyway, I
Yeah,
just of all the stories that Denali put up, this was one I definitely wanted to cover because it's such an outrageous maneuver. And like I said, there's no way it's going to stand. But nevertheless, it's craziness. It's craziness, and we see more of this because this is one of those things that is ruling or litigating by emotion rather than litigating by law, right?
yeah,
And we see this all over the place. So
and whatever happens, even if they appeal and wins, expect because of the outcome of how much money they're going to have to pour for the appeal, whether they win or lose, it's going to hit our pocketbooks.
yeah, I
Watch
imagine
it.
streaming services will go up in the next couple of months. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Didn't we
Well,
just
you know
have an
what? I'm
increase
gonna
recently?
yeah, by like $1.99, I think it
Something
was.
like that. Yeah.
But Hulu is no Netflix. I have to say that. There's only. I mean, you know what I mean? Like Hulu does not compare to Netflix.
True, I understand we're talking about Hulu here, but the ruling itself would apply across the board, right? That's what rulings do,
No, I'm
right?
not getting it.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, this won't stand, but it is a very interesting article, and as Zanelli said, we will be seeing another increase in our streaming services costs. I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we shocked everybody because the chat went silent on
it did
us.
go dead silence on us, but it's shocking news. That is
Yeah,
serious business right there.
right.
I mean,
Because
that's literally that literally could
do you
collapse an
understand what this?
entire
Do you know what
industry.
that? Do you know what that means? That means that the artists from music, from books, could go back and go to Apple,
Yep,
could go to
that's exactly what
Amazon,
it
could
means.
go say
Everybody.
more money. Yeah,
More money,
everybody.
yeah. There's
Yeah,
no way it can be allowed to stand. You might even see the government stepping on this one, in the shadows anyway. But no matter what it turns out, the interesting thing is here, these dudes who are doing it for Bones, particularly. This is I was talking about Bones. They've
yeah,
certainly guaranteed that no one's going to be streaming any Bones stuff anytime soon. So so congratulations. And I haven't seen that show in a long time. Is it still going on? She got real chunky, huh? Is she pregnant or something?
I,
Oh God, she was pregnant a couple times, but don't pick on her.
I'm not picking on her. I just I'm
yeah,
thinking she got
yeah,
pregnant.
yeah. She was pregnant a couple of
Yeah.
times. This is one of her
Yeah.
pregnant stage.
Mhm.
You can see her roundness still there. But anyways,
Are they still? Is Bones still on?
no, it's done. They
He's
finished.
on a different show.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, I watched it for a few
Navy SEAL.
seasons and kind of gave up on it. It kind of got boring. Same thing over and over. But anyway, that's a different conversation. Valen says, but in Lost Boys, they were still villains. Now with Maleficent, etc., the villain is the good guy. Yeah, no, that is a very true statement. They were the bad guys for sure. Lost Boys is a very interesting film in many ways. It was extremely popular. It did glamorize the vampire, made them pretty boys. Of course, the story itself is very much. Uh, it is talking about. I'm not going to get into that. I'll not do that. But it did glorify them, make them pretty, but at least they were still the villains. You are right. They're making the bad guy the good guy now.
unlike Twilight.
Well, yeah, but I was going to get into the undertoning of the creator's intention with Lost Boys, which a lot of people don't
Yeah,
understand what the movie's really about. But anyway, Eric says anti-streaming. Yeah. He says move back to cable channels. Yep. John Taylor says, I'm back. Well, thank you for the threat. What is this? You missed it. It was the big story. Balin says, no. I know John Dillard
yeah.
is an interesting character. Nevertheless, thank you guys for joining us today. We had some really good news pieces. I want to, of course, come over here and acknowledge IndieCron. And of course, hold on a second here. Let me. let me touch this just on a quick thing. I'm just going to cover the headline before I take us out because I think it's funny. Guardians
Wait,
of the
before we go,
Yeah.
wait. I'm actually showing a page of Graveyard Shift.
Oh, I'll come over that in a second. I'm not going anywhere, dude.
Oh,
I will come over there. Don't worry about it. But I just want to cover this last little thing real quick. I added this myself. Guardians of the Galaxy star Dave Bautista says Dwayne the Rock Johnson is not a great actor. F no. And it's really nothing much to talk about. It's just that I kind of like Dave doing his thing. He's got good timing. He's funny, but you're not a great actor either, and no one's calling Rock a great actor either. He's just entertaining and charismatic, like you. But man,
Actually,
Batista
you haven't seen
can't shut
Ballers.
his mouth. Hmm?
You haven't seen Ballers. The Rock is amazing in that. A
He
very
is,
dramatic
yeah.
role. Very dramatic role.
Pain and Gain, he's pretty good too. But I like Rock. I love. I just watched the. Now that's interesting point because I watched the Rampage movie with my wife the other night. That was a great fun popcorn movie, dude. I love that flick. That was great. Rock is magnetic on the screen. He is a wonderful action hero. I like him. I like Batista too. But damn, Batista's just an angry dude. He's always got something negative or he wants to yell about too many steroids, dude. Find a balance.
Have you seen The Rock on Saturday Night Live? He did a great musical. That guy is very talented.
He is.
The Rock is way more talented than Dave Bautista gives him credit for.
Hmm. And he used to, I don't know if you guys know this, but he used to work in the Polynesian Center, which is a Mormon, it's part of the Brigham Young University
Mhm.
campus. It's in Hawaii. And they have this, it's like a luau show that they do. And he used to be a fire dancer, a Samoan fire dancer, where they take these things on fire and spin them around and stuff like that. That's where he's coming from, actually. It's kind of interesting. But I just like, no, Dave, bad Dave, be good. Okay. Now, Indicron. As I've said, Indicron is a sponsor of this channel. We thank Picture Trader for all his support and help as usual. And there's a lot of great things on here you guys can find about all the projects that are going on in the community. This is not only a great resource for the consumer, it is also a great resource for the creator. It's very easy to get around, find out. You can learn about people's who they are. There's all kinds of information here. We see George's Joe King right here that just kicked off. We have the Tales from Beyond the Gate that's just kicked off as well. We'll come over here and look at that real quick. And it's coming along very nicely, I must say. I'm very happy about that. It's moving along, and we're going to have ourselves a book here soon there, Todd, I think, Denali. So definitely go over, check this out, support us, please, and, help us make this book reality and help George, too. There's a lot of good projects here. Go check them out. So let me stop sharing and come over and let us see what Todd has to offer here. Go ahead, man. You are. Let me go ahead and white box you real quick. You are white boxed. Go ahead, man.
This is just a page that I can't show anything that gives anything away, and this page doesn't give anything away. It's just a page. I have one more panel of ink, but it's a page 8 from Graveyard Shift 2, and I just wanted to get people's juices flowing about it. I know it just landed on people's doorstep over the last couple of days. The first one did. And my guess is, from what I'm hearing, is Graveyard Shift will either be a big book that has 4 books in it, or 4 individual books. I'm not really sure how they're going to do it, but there is over 60 pages of art that is being produced by 4 different individuals. And I just wanted to show one of mine to get people's, for this and for Tales from Beyond the Gate, because we have some good artists other than just me, but I just wanted to show a page of mine to get people, maybe they'll be interested in both projects, and so give us some support, and support the campaign, and get us to at least our goal so that you get the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident we'll get to the goal. Of course, I want to do more than that. For me, the goal I really want is to get to 20 grand so we can have that sketchbook, because I really want to get everybody in the community have their name in there with like a piece of art and stuff. I'd really love to have be able to get to do that, but we can't afford to make that happen until we get to that 20,000. So. Yeah, no, we definitely want support with that. And of course, I'm looking forward to seeing more and more stuff from Refuel, project you and I are working on, Todd, to see how that comes out. Because there's some, I think there's going to be some really interesting action panels in that book. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well,
It'll
guys.
it'll be a little bit different than this style, by the way.
Oh yeah, Mac, that's another thing I'm looking forward to, is seeing that style you're going to do. It's going to be fun. But
Yeah.
Lorenzo's here, and he says the Rock is aptly named. He always does a solid job. Ha! He also says an ex-Mormon got upset that they sold might even still sell coffee at the Polynesian Cultural Center, as Mormons are forbidden to drink it. Yeah, well, the Polynesian Cultural Center is not really for Mormons, even though it's built and operated by them, right? It's for the general public. But I get you, dude. But nevertheless, guys, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it. It's always nice to have you here and your support coming with us every day. It is amazing. Of course, if any of you new viewers, we are doing a show here every day at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we also have the fan edition of Drone Recorded, which we will be doing something very interesting this week. It's all planned and ready to go. So that will be fun. And of course, here in less than an hour, actually 49 minutes, you'll be able to go on the Black List Universe, which is Mike Miller's channel, and they will have the Pro Edition, and that's always fun. Some great, amazing artists over there showing their stuff off. Are you drawing today, Todd?
No, I'm not.
No. Okay. But you definitely check that out. Check out everything else we're doing. And as usual, Denali, take it away, dude.
Well, thank you, Chester, and thank you, everybody, for joining us for Comics News today. We had great news, some funny news, and some ranting. So, as always, your perception shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
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 Later, guys.
Yeah.
Aloha.